It's an interesting question. Why do we run a gap year? It's evolved as well over the years. We've always, as Spirit of Adventure as a company, we've always worked with, let's call it volunteers, and preferably kids who came straight out of school to work for us, and normally for a year. Reasons for that is a young person is young and enthusiastic, and they've got lots of energy, and you need that because it adds to the learning experience. It makes it fun and exciting for the learners who are coming here. Also because they're at an age where they can relate to the people that they're working with. You know, we don't want to hear life lessons from old people, like you don't want your mom and dad telling you who you should date, because that's just not cool apparently. So you know, those are reasons why we like to use young people, and we've always done that.
So the gap year is an opportunity for people to come through and sort of get away from home, gain a little bit of independence, and gain a little bit more knowledge about themselves, you know, develop themselves through the year while developing kids. A big part of that year is leadership, but I mean, you learn so many skills while you're here. You can't just encompass it into one thing, I think.
Well, instructors, basically the name kind of suggests what they do. They instruct the kids on what they need to do. So basically the chief instructor or whoever's running the course will give them an idea of what theory they're basing their camp on, and then the instructor's job is to reinforce the learning. So the instructor will be there with the kids almost 24/7 and will be reinforcing the ideas of the theory that has been taught, whether it's through a physical activity or a mental exercise. The instructors are there hands-on. On top of that, safety. That's our number one thing, is we want kids to experience new activities. Every activity has a learning theme behind it, but number one is safety. So that will be the first thing instructors are looking at, the first thing I'm looking at.
It's pretty much self-development, and most of it is done through your opportunities that you are given to develop kids on their own. And it's through the everyday activities that we do, the rock climbing and all the adventure activities, the rafting, the go-karting, abseiling. It's the little things and experiences that a lot of kids won't ever get.
For the first 3 days, all I heard was complaints, fake ailments, wanting to see parents. They couldn't stop talking about video games and their cell phones and technology and wanting to be back at home. And that was like the first couple of days. And then the whole time I was like pointing things out in the nature, talking to them about certain different things, starting conversations like around the fire. And then like on the third day and the fourth day, they'd completely almost forgotten about technology and about how uncomfortable they thought they were. And they started to realize the beauty of it and why they were there and that they were actually having fun. And that was a really good experience for me, because I felt as though I'd led them to that conclusion almost.
You get to see how far they're willing to push themselves, and you get to really see, I guess, not their true colors, but their willingness, should I say. I think my favorite experience that I've actually had ever with a group was walking down from go-karting, and my entire group just started singing a Disney song, and they're dancing around, and they just was super hyper. And it's really nice to know when you're tired and feeling a bit grumpy. And I think the days where your group, your kids that you're looking after, change your attitude and make you more cheerful. I think those are the best times. One
of the instructor's first and primary roles is to be trained and competent to lead groups of mostly school children through a variety of outdoor activities, with the purpose of using that activity to teach them something about leadership, about teamwork, about personal development. And those are very broad, but you know, without going deeper than that. So that is their main role, and it's a very important role, because they then have the opportunity, but also the responsibility of making sure that happens. That every learner who comes through our centre and comes under their influence and their care walks out positively affected by the experience, and that's a big thing.
We're trying to facilitate an understanding of the concepts that we're trying to teach them here. So we teach them about leadership and teamwork and that sort of thing, and it's pointless for us to sit them down in front of a whiteboard and just lecture them the entire time they're here. They're not going to learn anything. So we've tried to make activities that we can sort of fit those themes into, and teach them through fun activities where they might have to get out of their comfort zone, like rock climbing. But you know, if they're out of their comfort zone, they're more likely to remember the experience and remember the lesson that they were trying to learn anyway. Take abseiling for example. Abseiling is quite a daunting one because, you know, rock climbing you can at least get as high as you want to. Abseiling, you walking backwards down a rock face, it can be quite daunting, and you don't really have the option once you're about halfway down to say, you know, I don't like this, I don't want to do it anymore. We actually take the challenges that you face before you abseil, during the abseil, and how you're feeling about yourself after the abseil, and we relate them back to real life so that kids can see, oh, you know, this was such a challenge, but afterwards I felt accomplished, and they'll start to realize that in life, challenges are exactly the same. They're going to learn the same thing.
Some learners would actually tell themselves that, okay, I won't do this particular activity, but they really need a person to just talk to them and just encourage them and motivate them and show them a positive side, or rather a positive picture of a particular activity. At the end of the day, they will do it and they'll be proud of themselves.
I think it's a lot easier than we realize to impact a person's life, especially in this environment, because it's different to what they used to every day. So they're open to the you know, that thing happening to them. And if you consider for a moment that the world we live in is really harsh, it's hard. It's hard to get ahead. It's hard to stay abreast of what's happening. It's hard to compete with all the pressures that are thrown at you to perform at school, to perform on the sports field, to be a nice person, to be good looking enough, to be accepted by your peers and all that sort of thing. So for all of those reasons, you know, a lot of people don't see themselves terribly well. And there'll certainly be aspects of their life where they see themselves as being less than good enough. So our opportunity is there to show them through looking at their character and looking at their capabilities, just how much they have to offer. And everybody has something to offer. I believe that outright. It's true of me, it's true of every single person I've ever worked with. Even if you take the weakest student, if you could call it that we've ever had, they have something to offer. So part of our responsibility is helping them find that and then helping them notice it. That it's not something that they can ignore any longer, that they realize I've got a strength and I can offer it to other people. And that's what we've got to try and do. So as much as we're trying to train people in good leadership or good teamwork, we're also trying to help them discover what they've got and enhance that through a bit of training to really be able to then be confident enough to go out and offer it.
Kids surprise you, and it's usually when you're not expecting it that they'll surprise you the most, and they'll give you a moment that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. There have been experiences where I've had to go and find teams on copy when it's really dark, and I expect to get to them and they're sitting down and saying, I'm not doing this anymore, you know, I'm going back, what is this rubbish, why do we have to do it anyway? And they'll be sitting down and I'll get to them and be like, gents, you know, what's going on here? And they'll say, no, so we're waiting with this guy, he's got asthma, we want to finish this as a team. Or we're sitting and we're planning because we don't really know where we're going at this point in time, we don't want to mission off and make you guys wait any longer, or something like that. It's the small things, it really is. Yeah. Excuse me.